So now we will discuss when core is excited by a sinusoidal current or AC current. Okay. So obviously the same previous coil, now it has been energized by a AC voltage. So obviously the current which would be flowing in the coil would be a sinusoidal current IT, and obviously this current will push the flux. Let's say if this current is entering into this coil at this end 1, I would say terminal 1, terminal 2, and if this current is increasing in this direction, so obviously this flux, it will pump the flux out from this end by applying the right hand rule, you can see. So this would be the direction of the flux here, phi t. Okay, so phi t would also be a sinusoidal in nature, phi m sin omega t. Okay, where phi m is the amplitude of the flux there. So it's a sinusoidal current. This is, you can say that IT. So obviously corresponding to current, we would have the MMF here, or the magnetic field intensity H. So HT, if you'll see, that would be HM sin omega t. So what would be the BH characteristic for this kind of current? Let's say the core has no residual flux currently. So there is no residual flux, and first time this kind of MMF or this kind of magnetic field intensity has been applied there on this core through this coil. So obviously for on x-axis we have H, or we have MMF here. Okay, HT or MMF, because MMF is directly related to the current there. And on y-axis we have BT or phi t. And let's say this core has been energized for the very first time, and there was no residual flux inside this core. Okay, so that means the moment at the time when magnetic field intensity H is 0, at that time the flux in the core or flux density in the core is also 0. Okay, so we are at this origin now. The moment I am increasing the current here till here, so obviously the flux will also will, because the moment I am increasing the current, the magnetic field intensity or H is also being increased, and then in that case we would be having the increase in the flux as well. Okay, so I'm increasing, and let's say the moment it has reached to its peak, it has reached to its knee point. Let's say I'm assuming that its peak will cause the magnetic flux in the core to reach its knee point. Okay, so we are here now. The current reducing, right, is now decreasing. The current is now decreasing, so obviously that means H is also decreasing in nature now. Okay, so it will decrease now, but we know, as we have discussed before, the flux in the core won't trace the previous path. Rather, there would be some domains which would still be aligned in the previous direction, and we say there would be some residual flux there. So similarly here also, the moment the H has reduced from the peak to its 0 value, here the H or the flux will also come back to this point. Now you can see that the direction of the current has become negative, or the direction of the current has reversed. So similarly here also, the because direction is reverse, or that means the H has become negative. So if H was positive in this direction, if H was positive here, so here it is negative, right? Similarly, if H was positive in this domain, so here current is positive, so here it is negative, right? So this is positive. Similarly, H towards right hand side it would be positive and left it would be negative. So let's say the flux, the magnetic field, the current or the magnetic field intensity has reached to its peak in the negative direction. Similarly, here also we would be having, will reach to the peak in this direction, in the negative direction. So some effort would be required to make the residual flux to be zero. So this point or this much quantity is the residual flux, and we say it retentivity of the material. And this point, so this much effort or the MMF is required to make this residual flux to be zero. So we say it as coercivity. Coercivity, or this much coercive force is required. So this is known as coercivity. Okay. Now let's say the current is reducing from negative peak to its zero. So similarly, we would be having current in the, or the flux in the negative direction will also will try to reach to become zero, but obviously it won't trace the initial path. Rather, it will have some hysteresis, some backlog, or some hysteresis. And in the negative direction, we will be having some residual flux here. So residual flux in the negative direction. Now, when the fresh cycle starts, so again it will take the, now this time this will take this path, and it will try to reach to the peak here. So you see that there is a kind of hysteresis loop. We say it a hysteresis loop. We say it as a hysteresis loop or BH loop of the ferromagnetic material. BH loop or hysteresis loop. Now we will see how this hysteresis loop is actually, or the area in this hysteresis loop would be the amount of energy loss in one complete cycle of uh, the current. So when current is positive, okay, that means positive means the current is actually entering into the coil. Okay, so we have seen is positive, and di by dt is positive. That means d phi by dt, change in flux, is also positive. That means we are in this region. So in this region, so we have discussed about the Faraday's law. So in this region, d phi by dt is positive. So when d phi by dt is positive, so that means the flux is actually increasing. So the induced EMF should be in such a way that it should counter the increase in the flux. And this is only possible when current comes out of it. Okay, when assuming, let's say, this 1 and 2 is shorted, that means this induced EMF across this terminal 1 and 2, it should try to it should it should try to decrease the flux, and this is only possible when 1 is at plus and terminal 2 is at minus position. So terminal 1 is positive and terminal 2 is negative. And our convention is when this condition is there, ET is actually positive. So we'll say that here the induced EMF is actually positive. Let's have some other magnitude I'm drawing. Now what about during this region? So during this region, d phi by dt, so this is for when omega t is greater than 0 and less than equal to pi by 2, and for when omega t is greater than pi by 2 and less than equal to pi. So during this region d phi by dt is negative. That means the flux is decreasing in nature. So when the flux is decreasing in nature, that means the direction of the current should be in such a way that it should try to increase this flux, and this is only possible when current enters here. When current enters here, okay, if I short these two terminal, so this induced EMF should try to push the current in the direction of the initial current only. Okay, so here for this condition, this is only possible when this terminal 2 is positive and terminal 1 is negative. Okay, so in this case I would say terminal 1 is negative and terminal 2 is positive. So this means ET has become negative now. So ET has become negative now till this region. Similarly, for so what about the power then? So what we can see is, for in this case, when omega t was greater than 0 and less than pi by 2, at that time power, I would say, let's say PT is ET into IT, and they both are, ET is also positive and IT is also positive. That means at the plus terminal the current is actually entering into it. So what we can say is, at the positive terminal, right, during this condition the terminal 1 is positive and terminal 2 is negative and current is actually entering into the positive terminal. So what we can say is this system is actually absorbing the power. It is absorbing the power or energy. This entire core and this coil system is actually absorbing the power. During this period from pi by 2 to pi, so terminal 1 has become negative now and terminal 2 has become positive. So what you can see is when current is entering into the negative terminal, so obviously from positive terminal it will come out. So if from the positive terminal if the current is coming out, what we can say is PT is actually minus of ET into IT. Okay, so if earlier it was positive, so now this power has become negative. That means it is actually sending the power back to the source. Okay, if earlier the system was absorbing the power, now what we can say is the power is actually being sent back to the source. Okay, similarly for pi to when omega t is greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2, what you can see is you can do this. So during when omega t is greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2, at that time current is actually negative. So till here the current is negative. So negative means now the direction of the current has reversed. Okay, so now the direction of the current has reversed, so direction of the flux will also get reversed. Okay, so earlier the You can see by a right hand rule, now the direction of the flux would be in this direction, okay. So direction of the flux has reversed, and what you can see is the H is actually being increased here in the reverse direction. So that means flux is also being increased in this direction. So the polarity of the induced EMF should be in such a way that it should try to counter this. This is only possible when you have plus here, and this, obviously this is your terminal 2 and this is your terminal 1. So what you can see is terminal for this condition, terminal 1 would be negative and terminal 2 would be positive. So that is the case, we can say is this ET is actually negative as per our convention, okay. So this is negative now. And then what about when omega t is actually greater than pi, 3 pi by 2 and less than pi? That is this region. So in this region, here d phi by dt was, I would say, negative as per the previous convention, okay. Or if I have marked the polarity of the direction of the flux in the opposite direction, so what we can say is d phi by dt is increasing in opposite direction, okay, positive but in opposite direction. That means it's negative only, right? Positive in opposite direction. So it is increasing but in the opposite direction. So, and you can see, you can check for it as well by right hand rule what would be the direction of the induced EMF. So for 3 pi by 2, when omega t is greater than 3 pi by 2 and less than pi, so in that case, if you'll see, in that case, terminal 1 would be so let's draw this. So till here you have negative ET. Now in the opposite direction, what you can say is here the flux in this direction, the current is being reduced. That means MMF is being reduced. So obviously the flux will also get reduced. Okay. So here d phi by dt is actually negative but in opposite direction, or it is decreasing in opposite direction. So terminal 1, now in this case the direction of the current should be in such a way that it should try to increase the flux, and this is only possible when this terminal is negative and this terminal is positive. When this terminal is negative and this terminal is positive. Okay, so terminal 1 is positive and terminal 2 is negative. You can check by right hand rule as well. Okay, so the induced EMF will try to push the current in this direction. So obviously current will enter from in this direction. So this is the direction of the induced EMF. Okay, so what you can check is during when omega t is greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2, what about power? So power, if you'll see that current is for the first case, the current is actually entering into the plus terminal, right? Current is actually entering into the positive terminal. That means here the power is being absorbed by the system, and here if you see, the power absorbed by the system which is positive, and here power is negative. That means power is being delivered back to the source. So with this background, you can actually check the hysteresis loop. So what I will assume is, so this in this BH characteristic, what we'll assume is the very first cycle has already been passed. This core has already experienced the very first cycle, and after that the subsequent cycles are coming, and so this the same loop it will actually follow. So here you can see is this is the case when you have this condition, the positive cycle one. In this, what we have seen is this will actually take this entire area is the energy, because we have seen before as well this entire area. So let's say area A, B, C, the center one is O, then this is D, this is E, okay, and A. So this entire area is actually integral of H dB here, okay. So in the area A, B, C, and again A area, so this is the area which is actually the energy, per unit energy is being absorbed by the system. And obviously we have seen that this is the case when we are at the very first cycle. We are here at the very first cycle, right? So in the very first cycle, what we have seen is, we have seen that it is absorbing the power, right? So it is absorbing the power for the very first cycle. Very first cycle means like after the core has already experienced uh, the first cycle, and then subsequent cycles are coming. So, okay, so the positive cycle of the current is there. Okay, so at that time it is actually absorbing the power. Now that is from 0 to pi by 2. Now when it is get from pi by 2 to pi, what we can see is power is being negative. That means power is actually being sent back to the source. Power sent back to the source, okay. And as we have discussed before, this is the case when you are at, so this much power, so this entire power is actually being sent back to the source, okay, during this time. So what you can say is area, let's say this is F here, this point. So area F B C F is the energy is being sent back to the source. So during first positive cycle of the current, what we can see is this entire, so this entire area A, B, F, A. So in positive cycle, the energy being absorbed in the positive cycle would be a would be area, okay. No, we won't discuss this now. In the when omega t is greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2, so what we have seen is power was being absorbed by the system, that means by the core and this coil, okay. So this much power, this entire power, right, this much area was actually being sent back to the, sorry, this much area, we have seen that this is the area which is equivalent to the energy absorbed by the system. We are here in greater than omega, when omega t is greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2. So during this time, this total energy is being actually absorbed by the system. So during omega t greater than pi and less than 3 pi by 2, area F, I would say D, E, let's say this is H, H, F, okay, or I would say H, O, F is actually energy is being absorbed by the system. And during omega t greater than 3 pi by 2 and less than 2 pi, we have this area. So this much area or the energy equivalent to this area is actually being sent back to the source. So area equivalent to A E H A is the energy, because you can see in this fourth cycle we have PT is negative, that is power is being delivered back to the source. So obviously this area would be the energy is being sent back to the source. So what you can see is in the entire cycle, one complete cycle of it, the area equivalent to, I would say, A, B, F, D, E and A is the energy which is being absorbed into the system, and this is known as the hysteresis loss. Because in every cycle what is happening is that the domain is getting aligned in one direction. For the positive, let's say for positive cycle of the current, the domain is aligning in the one direction, and for the negative direction of the current, the domain is again realigning, or it is aligning in the negative, in the opposite direction. So obviously you need some energy to change the direction of the domains, right? So that's why you can say that, so that energy which is required to change the direction of the domains from one positive direction to the negative and negative to the positive, you need some energy, and that energy we said it's a loss there into the core, okay, and that loss is known as hysteresis loss, okay. So that hysteresis loss, there is an empirical relation for this hysteresis loss which is given by pH, and this pH is actually equal to kh some constant, and we said it's a characteristic constant of the core material, and frequency and the flux at which it is being operated, where B and Mx. So B max is the flux density. So B max is actually equal to flux density, okay, and n is, this n is actually Steinmetz's exponent, whose range is actually from 1.5 to 2.0, and typically for a ferromagnetic material which we generally use is around 1.6, okay, and V is the volume of the material. So this is the empirical relation to find the, to have the hysteresis loss in a ferromagnetic core whose volume is V. Now we will discuss about eddy current losses. Okay, so this eddy current losses actually it occurs in the core. So eddy current loss occurs in the core. So considering the same ferromagnetic core, the rectangular one. So on one limb of it we have a coil wound over it, as we have taken the previous cases. So this is just one limb I am taking, the left limb, and I have just magnified it, and we'll try to see what actually happens here. So let's say the supply which is coming to this coil is a sinusoidal one, and because of this sinusoidal supply we have a sinusoidal current, a time varying current. So obviously we have seen in the previous cases as well that by applying the right hand rule, you will see that the flux will actually come out of it. So the direction of the flux would be somewhat like this. So if the current is positive and it is coming in this direction and current is increasing, so obviously the flux, this is the flux phi t, or the flux density, you can say bt. So this is in this direction. Okay. Now, since this ferromagnetic core itself is a conducting in nature, it's a conductor, good conductor of electricity. So what will happen is the solid block, if you'll see, obviously this conductor is also experiencing a change in magnetic field. So if we consider one loop, if we consider one loop, obviously this entire block is a solid one, but I'm considering this the proper one loop of it. So you can think of it that this loop will actually experience a change in magnetic field. So by Faraday's law, we can say that change in magnetic field, if a loop experiences a change in magnetic field, so conducting loop, so there would be an induced EMF, and the direction of the induced EMF would be in such a way that it should actually counter the change in flux. So change in flux here is increasing, so the current should flow in this loop in such a way that it should counter. So you see the direction of the current, so it should be a counterclockwise direction. Okay, so the direction of the current here, it would be counterclockwise. Okay, so in this direction the current will flow. So because of this, now because of change in magnetic field, there is an induced EMF across this ferromagnetic core. So you can think of that this entire core is actually made up of n numbers of, or infinite numbers of, these loops whose area is actually varying from the center till this edge. Okay, so this eddy current loss is actually because of this current and the resistivity of the core. Okay, so if we somehow increase the resistance of this core, then what we can say is the current will actually reduce there, because if the resistance, the resistance of this ferromagnetic core is increased, then the current will actually reduce. Okay, and since the losses is I square R loss, it's a current loss, so I would say it's a I square R loss. So if the current has reduced, so what we can say is that the eddy current losses will reduce. So what are the remedies to counter this eddy current losses? So the remedies are either, let's say this 3D cross sectional area of this core. So if we divide this solid block of core into thin laminations, okay, and these laminations, they are insulated with each other, then what we can say is the path of this current has been increased. So the path of this current has been increased. So this, okay, so since the resistance of a conducting material depends upon rho L upon A. So if I have increased the length, what I am doing is I have increased the I have increased the resistance of it. Okay, so what we do is we use thin laminations of it, and there is an empirical relation, and the other method is either we use a higher resistivity material. Okay, so you can think of, let's say this limb is made up of this kind of thin laminations. Okay, and what we do is instead of using a solid block, we use this kind of laminations. Okay, so if you see the top view, it is like I have just these three pieces left at my home, so I'm showing it here with that. So by putting higher number of this, I can actually increase the thickness of this limb actually, right? Okay, so these thin laminations of ferromagnetic core is actually being used. Okay, so silicon steel sheet, we used it, and to make these kind of core actually of different, as per our requirement, we will make different kind of laminations to to form this core, this kind of core. Okay, so there is an empirical relationship and there is derivation of it as well, but I'm not going in detail of those derivations here. What you can see is the eddy current loss is given by this expression. Okay, where eddy current losses is depends upon the square of the frequency and the square of the flux density Bm, and tau is the thickness of the laminating uh, steel. Okay, and V is the volume of the core. V is the volume of the core. Okay, and Ke actually the constant, it has a, it actually depends upon the resistivity of the material. Okay, so this K is a constant quantity depending upon the material, what kind of material I'm using. Okay, so this is what this eddy current loss is. Okay, so eddy current loss and hysteresis loss, it occurs in the core, and it occurs when there is change in a magnetic field for the eddy current. So because of that change in magnetic field, what we have seen is that change in magnetic field is actually produces the eddy current, and that causes the eddy current losses, and that completes the magnetic circuit. In the magnetic circuit, we have discussed about, first we have discussed about some basic magnetic quantities, and then we have discussed about the magnetic circuits. In magnetic circuits, we have discussed about reluctance, MMF, and the flux there, and the electrical analogy of it, and how to deal with the magnetic circuits, how to solve a magnetic circuits. And then we have talked about the AC excitation of ferromagnetic material, where we have talked about the BH characteristics of it, what is the BH characteristic of a ferromagnetic material, and then the AC excitation of the ferromagnetic material, where we have talked about the hysteresis and the eddy current losses, and that completes this unit. So in the next unit, we will be discussing about the transformers, which is based on this, the second portion of the magnetic circuits, and then we will discuss about the rotating machines there. So we will stop here. Thank you.